when she said, I'll do whatever it takes, I had dropped out of college. I was waitressing at a strip club. I'd given, my parents bought me a car. I gave the car back because I felt like my dad was being too controlling. I was like, here's the car, I'll take care of myself. And we had some real tension in that moment because I was difficult to control. And my mother, she still made sure that I didn't get too far off track. She would check to make sure I was home safe after working at the club. She'd meet me for lunch sometimes. She'd put gas in my car, give me groceries. Even when I tried to say, Mom, I don't need it, she'd have groceries in my car when I left somewhere. Like, she made sure that I was never anywhere on my own. She is my girl. There are so many pockets of my life that I feel like I don't remember because I was in such a fog of depression that there are just memories that I can't easily pull from. But what I have learned is whether we acknowledge where we are, especially when we're having harder emotions, whether we acknowledge it or not, it doesn't mean that it's not showing up in our actions, in our life in some way. And I think giving myself permission to feel, because I think when I first got pregnant and I realized by everyone else's response that this is something bad has happened, this is something that's wrong, I think I immediately shut down and just went into survival mode. And oftentimes when we're in survival mode, even in a physical experience, if we're having a car accident or something traumatic has happened to our bodies physically, sometimes we don't feel the pain because there's so much adrenaline, you're in the moment, that you can't tell that you're bleeding. And I feel like mental health is very similar to that. The shock of the trauma that we have experienced can be so jarring that we don't even take the time to assess how we're showing up in the world and how that could be depression, it could be anxiety. And a lot of times it ends up showing in the choices we make to anesthetize those pains. True. And so I think that I have learned to really take a moment and ask myself, how did you feel after that happened? Whether it feels like it was an immature response or a mature response, I think it's important to really assess. I had a reaction to what just occurred, and it has allowed me to not just recognize the moments where I'm having a hard emotion like depression, like anxiety, but also to allow myself to experience joy. Because there are so many things that happen that are answers to prayers, that are dreams that we thought would never achieve, and we're so busy moving on to the next thing that we don't take a moment to really recognize, like, I'm already standing in a dream that I thought would never be. And so I am prayerful that part of what I get to pass down and maybe pass up, because I think the beauty of legacy is not just what we pass down, but we get to throw some things up, is this opportunity to allow yourself to take up space in your own world, to not just run your world and to function in your world, but to take up space, to allow yourself to be one of the main character in your story, and to give yourself permission to do that has been really helpful for me as I navigate what mental health looks like.